logged in like 15 minutes earlier.
No, that's quite all right. And anything that ends with great success, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
All right. So,
All right.
good morning, everybody. My very, very good friend Russel Korus is on with us this morning. He's the what do you call yourself? The digital assets manager over at Asvoria?
It's CDAO, the Chief Digital Assets Officer.
He was funny. I've
Okay.
seen that in other places now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if it was one of those things where people started saying it in parallel, which is entirely possible. But as far as I'm concerned, you made it up.
Yes. Thank you. I'll take credit for it.
Yeah, 100%. In our little family, you're the progenitor of it. So yeah, I need some Russel Korus every so often now, officially overdue. And not only just to get some updates, but just for hang sesh. So gets to accommodate both of those things, which is fun. All right, so good morning, everybody. What's up, Meta Builders and Seth and TC and Red and Geeky? You guys are freaking awesome. Obviously, I think how many days are we in now for Buncho? What's up? For the Tapper app now. One.
I think 4 or 5 days.
Right, I think it's 4.
Yeah.
Maybe 5.
I think it's more even.
On Wednesday, so maybe it's 5.
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
5.
It's the 5th day, I suppose.
Yeah,
right?
This is the 5th day, indeed. This is the 5th
Yep.
day.
And of course, I didn't check this morning, but I would be willing to bet a decent sized chunk of money that Red is still the top of the leaderboard. The dude's a fiend. I don't think he sleeps. And hopefully his health is maintainable because he's very committed. Which is
So I'm checking in right now. I just opened the Tapper app and it's day 6. Today is checking in for day 6.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense. All right.
So I just got the daily check-in bonus. Woohoo!
Yeah, you get that first daily check-in bonus.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Shipple's on the grind. Yeah, Bull Shipples is definitely putting in some work for sure. And actually, Shipple I think is going to be Bull Shipples is going to be on next week. I think there's going to be some stuff dropping for Shipple here pretty soon, which is pretty fun. Pretty fun. He's been out, in the fields contemplating what to do. Him and his family on a farm, so he's been doing that all summer. So anyway, Russell, how are you? How's it going?
It's going well. We've been head down building all summer long, and we're developing. Anyway, we'll get into this, but yeah, it's been really great. The development team has been just working their asses off and producing incredible work, and we're excited to. We're probably, I would say, I don't want to give an exact date, but definitely within the next 8 weeks, I would say we should be launching probably by, let's say, November 1st, thereabouts, November 15th, somewhere around there. And we just really want to see some green candles before we go live. We want a little bit of wind on our backs. And the thing is that we need to, for us, being a platform, we're going to be launching with the NFT marketplace, with the Launchpad, the Solana Launchpad. We are going to have staking. We are going to have this Asvoria gig, which we can get into. This is a new thing that we're creating, essentially like a Fiverr or an Upwork specifically for Web3 skills and technical needs. And so we've got some amazing partnerships as well to talk about, specifically with Bad Days, and we've got now access to the entire all of the Avengers, all of the superheroes from the movies. We can't call them Marvel characters. We have to call them Bad Days characters. But we can.
It's basically from the cartoons, right? So it's the IP's a little bit different, but yeah, I've had lots of chats with that guy. And he's super fun.
David, yes, yeah. So we've got, but the key is that we can create original content around these characters. Yeah, we have to keep them a certain visual style, but we can create original content without fear of getting sued by Disney. So that's pretty huge. And we're just excited. I really believe all of this building, and we'll get into this as well with you guys and Launchbags and all these amazing projects that you've got going on. But it really feels like any minute now the powder keg is going to go off and the bull run is going to take off, and it's going to carry all of us. It's an exciting time.
Yeah, Juan and I talk about this all the time. I love both of your guys' feelings about it way more than how I feel about it. So fuck my feelings in the face. I mean, there's always the conditions for a bull market if sentiment turns and whatever, right? So like that's it. So that makes sense. You guys are sort of like actively deciding to time things, waiting for a little bit more momentum in the market then.
That's exactly right. So we had a lot of discussions internally, and we did a soft launch a couple months back of just the NFT marketplace, essentially as a proof of concept to show the community that we're actually building something and that we can make something that works and you can connect your wallet to, etc. We ended up taking it down because we're adding additional chains. So we're adding Base, Ethereum, possibly Wax, and maybe a few others. Eventually, we can add virtually every chain there is, but that requires changing the login process. It requires changing the database. So the developers asked us, rather than leaving one chain up and then building around it, it's just easier to take it down, rebuild with multiple chains, and then relaunch all at once. But at this point, like it's so important to make a strong first impression. And again, like I said, for us, because we need volume on the marketplace, we need volume in the launchpad, we need projects lined up, ready to go. Yeah. So that takes time, and it's so much harder to do in a bear market. Like if we would have tried to do that, I think about that, if we would have built the greatest platform known to man with the greatest marketing campaign that money can buy, and we're dependent on generating volume in an NFT marketplace, and we launched 3 months ago, it doesn't matter what we do, we're not going to generate huge volume because nobody cares about NFTs right now, at least the vast majority of them. So it's and then what, then we sit around live for 3 months generating very little volume, and then people forget we're a failed project and they move on. So it's really, really important to capture that initial momentum and prove that you're real and that you can generate volume. So we're really at this point, we've communicated with our community in terms of AMAs, and we've let them know at this point, like, this is in your own best interest. Like all of our token holders, want to see ROI, obviously, as any investor does. And so the best way for us to accomplish that is to make sure that we time the launch properly when there is, a wider momentum in the market.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's definitely the best strategy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Indeed. What do you think, Juan?
What am I thinking?
Yeah, no, it looked like you were going to say something.
No. I was just thinking about ourselves, and maybe we are too. We'll launch even when the conditions are not ideal, but I think that the way to go is really wait for ideal conditions and really use that energy, that momentum to get things going.
Yeah, I mean, now like we had to pivot to creating the momentum. Right, and that's kind of where all of our energy going now is to try and get in front of that wave as much as possible. Because, even like in a sideways market, or however we want to describe the market now, on Wax, where we're focused, or wherever, that like we're seeing other projects generate massive amounts of onboarding and massive amounts of sort of energy and momentum, and so we're basically just trying to map that path. I mean, that's where the tap wrap comes from. Like, we want to sort of be able to create an onboarding thing and have some energy around the whole thing, which we started a few days ago or whatever. But I'm still pretty bullish on that, because we've got a lot of really cool things on the horizon for that. But yeah, no, so that makes sense. So when you're, can you tell us a little bit more about the sort of the task thing? Is it sort of Web3 focused, or how's that going?
Yeah, essentially. So we're still developing this, but the general concept is we have, in almost every partnership or potential partnership that we speak to, there are projects need resources, whether they're marketing resources, development resources, graphics resources. There are all sorts of things that projects need. And for us, when we partner with somebody, we want to be an involved, engaged partner, and we have access to a lot of these resources internally ourselves. And that's really where the idea came from, is our development team, without bragging too much, but it's, I got into IT in 1995, just as the internet was taking off. I spent, 30 years working with dozens of different development teams in traditional tech before ever getting into blockchain. And I have to say that I don't think I've ever seen a development team like what we have, both the Unreal Engine side as well as the Solana side. Their ability to develop high quality work in and turnaround time being as short as it is, it's remarkable. It's probably the best I've ever seen. So we started, and finding good developers traditionally has been my biggest challenge. When I was CEO, that was the hardest thing for me, was to find competent and trustworthy developers that could build your vision. So to me, this is one of the biggest value propositions of Asvoria, is the fact that we have these developers in-house. And right now we're employing them to maximum bandwidth because we're building our own platform. But we do lend them out, over the last couple of years since we've been building our platform. On occasion, we'll take a small subsection of the team and give them a side project for something else, potentially to generate some revenue. So the idea was to, again, it's essentially, this whole thing about the gig economy, and people are freelancing more and more, and especially in the Web3 side. So it's really about bringing, the people that do the work and the people that need the work together. It's facilitating that trade. And again, it's a very similar concept. It'll be all facilitated through the Asvoria token, so it'll be another use case for that. But the idea is for people, again, whether they're graphics artists, developers, marketers, writers, communication specialists, PR, whatever the case is, but the focus should be Web3, blockchain, I would say in general. Again, we haven't worked out all the details yet, but that's the idea, is focused in on this one vertical, which just, there's a million projects, everyone's looking for stuff. And a lot of the times the developers have some bandwidth that they can afford to give or sell. And that's really the idea there.
I like it. That's cool. It seems kind of inherently, sorry, go ahead, one.
No. I wanted to ask you. Right now, there are other marketplaces on Solana, like Magic Eden or is it Tensor, the other one, and you have Sniper, XYZ.
Yeah, Solar.
Asvoria compared to these marketplaces. What's your differentiator there?
So that's a great question. So one of the things that we're doing, and I think eventually this is not going to be unique for long, but at least we should be able to be first to market. And we are building what's called Asvoria transformables. So the idea here is programmable, intelligent NFTs that can change attributes over time based on external stimuli. Again, some of the stuff is already starting to come to market, but we want to build this at the base layer. So everybody launching an NFT collection on Asvoria Marketplace will have the ability to infuse their collection with this additional value, and it'll give them the ability to do it even after the fact. So they can go back 6 months later and add value or add attributes or embed AI or even embed games inside NFTs. They're fully on chain. It's a really interesting tech. Again, this isn't going to be necessarily for launch, but this is something that we are definitely developing, because I think that's where the utility of NFTs is going to go. Even like in a game, like you can imagine like Fortnite, where you have 100-person battle royal and everybody enters their avatar as an NFT, and then those avatars take damage or whatever they win, and so they change their attributes. That's going to be reflected, and you don't have to remint. You don't have to. It isn't metadata, but it is fixed to the NFT. So it's an interesting thing, but that's what we're really trying to do, is push the envelope, and we have a lot of AI embedded throughout the platform, from the avatars to a lot of the other aspects of it. So that's another thing, is we're really trying to make Asvoria future-proof, because AI, as we all know, is going to be, the last 2 years have been, probably as much development as in the previous 20, and the next 2 years will probably be as much development as, whatever. So it is hard to predict. So all we can do is build in a way that is as scalable as possible, thinking about the future as much as we can.
Yeah, I like that. So that's one of the things. So with flip drives, we're talking about putting energy on the playing card NFTs. You can only kind of use them so many times before having to recharge or whatever. We're kind of looking into. We're still sort of exploring all that stuff. But when we do that, we're going to be using the Nifty Blocks upgrade system, because basically that's exactly what it is, right? It's basically like you can apply new data straight to the NFT via smart contract, which is really cool. So when you're talking about the future-proof thing, always well, you've met me. that's where I wake up, generally speaking. So when you talk about integrating AI into the avatars, what does that look like for you guys?
So our avatars are they can, number one, you can upload anything that you have, whether you've had any interviews, podcasts, any writing, like audio, video, written work, anything that you have in your sort of professional or personal portfolio that would help an AI learn about you and emulate you. All of that can be uploaded and immediately is absorbed by the AI, and then it tries to learn, and like I said, it tries to copy you. There's also specific training modules, so you will be able to proactively or additionally train your avatar. The idea essentially is that one of the things that differentiates Asvoria from other metaverses is that we have a significant B2B component. So we do have, individuals, people could just go and play games and meet with friends and do shopping and, attend a virtual concert. But from a sustainable business, from a sustainable revenue perspective, the focus is on B2B, and it's helping global brands come into the Web3 space and establish a presence for their communities, be able to engage with their communities. One of the biggest advantages to Web3 is this ability to connect with fans, is the fans. And when I say fans, I mean it's whether it's a luxury brand like Rolex or Gucci or Louis Vuitton or whatever that obviously has fans who spend a lot of money on that product, or whether it's individuals like athletes or actors or musicians that obviously have global fans as well. But Web3, the biggest thing is that the fans that want to be engaged, the brand can identify those people and can also reward them for their engagement. And when those people create content, they can be rewarded for that. And so they feel like they have a voice, like they have a sphere of influence over the brand that they love, because they can vote on certain proposals, and they can, if you create a DAO, if you create staking tokens, if you reward them with access to exclusive content, maybe like a private Telegram chat with their celebrity, whoever, or what, maybe they receive merch in the mail from their brand. Whatever the case is it brings the fans and the brand together in a way that was never previously possible, and that's really what we want to take advantage of. So we're reaching out to brands, and when you look at the history, like these technology adoption cycles typically repeat over and over again. You can learn a lot by looking at the past, and you look at Web 1 and sort of 1995 was like, or let's say 2000 was really when it started to come to more prominence. But 1995 is when the first Netscape Navigator launched. It's really kind of the birth of Web 1, and for a few years it was, most companies didn't have websites, most people didn't use email, it was kind of a fringe thing. But by 2010 it was impossible to imagine any brand without at least a website and without email on their that you can reach out, you can send them an email, you can communicate with. Then Web 2 came along, and social media, user-generated content. And again, for a couple of years, the value was sort of nebulous. And then again, by 2020, 10 years later, by 2020, it was impossible to imagine any brand without Facebook and Twitter and all of the social media accounts. And the exact same thing will happen with Web 3. Web 1 took 15 years, 95 to 2010. Web 2 took 10 years, 2010, 2020. Web 3 will probably take 5 years. And probably by the end of next year, the adoption will happen quickly, and you'll see brands with metaverse presence and with the ability to communicate, and with whether it's gaming, play to earn, learn to earn, like all this new type of engagement. The domino, the stone will roll down the hill pretty quickly once it starts going. So that's really what we're focused on, is helping brands come into Web3, establish a presence, let us manage all of the technical aspects of it. You'll have your own sort of habitat within the Asvoria ecosystem, where you can customize, that we can help you build, we can manage, we can, and there's going to be so many options. And so back to your original question about the avatar, for brands, and again, whether it's an individual, whether it's if you're a luxury car, if you're a Lamborghini and you have a dealership and somebody wants to visit your virtual showroom, you want to have AI powered avatars as salespeople that can answer questions the same way that the real human salesperson would, so that your customers feel like they're getting a really nice experience. If you're an artist, I don't know if I think, Corey, Vesa, right? Vesa Kivinen? I think, no? Okay, so he lives in Dubai. He's an amazing artist, one of my dear friends. He is Asvoria's artist in residence. And we've built this incredible pyramid-style art gallery for him to display all of he's a sublime artist, just incredibly gorgeous work that he produces. And so we created this amazing gallery. So now we've also created an avatar for him. And so if 50,000 people all show up at the same time and want to visit his art gallery, every single one of them will just spin up 50,000 instances of his avatar, and every single one of them will get a personalized tour of the gallery from the artist himself, and they'll be able to ask them questions. What was your inspiration? What was your process? What materials did you use? And the avatar will be able to talk. And if the avatar receives a question they can't answer, there's a notification mechanism. They'll say, I'll get back to you. The human being behind the avatar gets notified, and once the answer is provided, the next time around, that avatar is now a little bit smarter and will be able to learn.
You just add that into the rag, and then it's available next time there's a search for it.
Exactly. So that's the idea. So that's really, the avatars are a very powerful base layer. And for individuals, we want these avatars to be transferable. We want them to go from one metaverse to the other. Interoperability is a long-term goal for us. Obviously, security is a huge issue there with bridges or how that happens. But long-term, you should be able to take your avatar and go to anyone, any metaverse, regardless of which chain you're on. So that's something that we're building in as well, and hopefully we'll have that functionality before anyone else. I don't want to promise a date, but we're actively working on it.
The tools for creating that in the background. I mean, your guys' devs are not terrible at their jobs. I'm an idiot, and I could build that. So that stuff is definitely available as far as how to put that stuff together. So you guys talking about launching the actual metaverse in November, or just like the platform?
The first parts of the platform. The actual metaverse will probably come later. I would say over the next 6 to 9 months. Once we launch, I think that's when we'll have the whole platform out, probably by mid 2025 thereabouts. But yeah, slowly, we'll roll out different components. Probably at least once a month or so, we'll have a launch of something new.
Awesome. There you go. That's a whole thing.
And we've got one of the things we can talk about as well is this idea of combining chains right now, or combining some sort of project, some kind of collection, where you need both, Solana assets and Wax assets together. And, it's right now the bridging is still a little, I think the Woofy token is probably the best way to go from one chain to the other. Because there's not really.
You have the USDC bridge also available, so you can move not only WOF but USDC from Solana to Wax and bring it back. So.
Yeah,
okay.
One thing we were talking about yesterday, they're sort of taking USDT support off of Wax, right? And just late last week, we found out that they're basically doing support for USDC now. So was a big sort of issue for us, wondering sort of what the solution was going to be. It wasn't going to be for like 6 months or 9 months or whatever it is till they took it off. But they got in front of that. So we're shifting a lot of our focus to USDC pairs on Wax. And I don't know that I even knew this, and I definitely didn't remember it, which could be a Corey small brain problem. But just being able to move USDC from Solana to Wax through that bridge is pretty awesome. I've just been using WUF as well. It's like a little hop, skip, and a jump. Never heard anybody. That's cool. I think and one thing we keep talking about with the app is that we are focused on abstracting away absolutely all of the crypto-y stuff away from brand new users as humanly possible, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you might be doing all sorts of stuff inside the context of the game and the app that's connected to it, whether it's through DeFi or through NFTs or whatever it is, and you might not even know what chain it is until you are going to cash out, right? And then you need XYZ wallet, and then you can go do all the things, and right. So that's something that we've been kind of really leaning into.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big thing, and you're absolutely right. Like there's this idea of mass adoption has to be simple, and we forget, like somebody with zero experience. If you say, okay, go download and install MetaMask, first install a wallet, then install MetaMask, then connect your wallet with the MetaMask extension so that you can plug into these apps. Like it's never going to happen, right? So Web 2 and custodial wallets have their place as a transition to the ideal of non-custodial wallets and decentralization. But even just that, even something as simple as you tell somebody that has never been in crypto that you'll set up an account, but if you forget, or wallet, which slash account, they'll probably understand that term better. But you tell them if you forget your password, you've lost access to your assets forever. You can never recover your password, and your wallet is effectively off limits, and you've lost everything. That is a concept that nobody understands because it doesn't exist anywhere in the rest of the world. Like there's no other account you would have that doesn't have a forget password button somewhere. So we're with Asvoria, that's exactly what we're doing. Is by default, when you create an account, it'll create a custodial wallet for you that will have password recovery, et cetera, et cetera. But at the same time, we're going to offer a learn to earn incentive program, to get people up to speed so that they understand why a non-custodial wallet is the way to go, why it's important, what it means, what the difference is, how to protect yourself, how to back up the wallet, et cetera. And then eventually they can transition. They'll set up their MetaMask, they'll set up their Phantom, and then they'll be able to plug in to Asvoria that way, and then essentially, sunset their custodial wallets, and that's the ideal. But what you have to, that initial step is really, really important.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Although I think there's a standard in Ethereum, the account abstraction. I don't remember the name of the ERC, but account abstraction allows you to recover your wallet even when you lost your passphrase, and you can, if I remember correctly, because it's a long time since I have explored this. You can define trusted persons, and if something happens, you can rely on them to reconstruct your passphrase. So they are. I think that's a general concern because, just as you said, people will lose their passwords, will lose their seed phrases, and they need to be able to recover it somehow.
Yeah.
But I think that the solution there with account abstraction makes it so that it's also decentralized. Recovering your password is decentralized.
Yeah, that's the important part, is you've got to define ahead of time who the trusted people are. Because as you were discussing it, I was thinking, how do you prove that it's your wallet? Like, how does somebody say, "Oh, I lost my password to this wallet, please recover it for me," and it's somebody else's wallet, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's very smart. I've actually thought of like a good service would be like, because I'm always thinking, like, if somebody, I've tried to back up like every account. I have this, on paper with all the private keys and everything, and I've shown my wife and my kids where it is, so that if I get hit by a bus, they can at least have access to all my crypto. But I am certain that they would at least somewhere, one of the accounts, a couple of the accounts, something would happen. They wouldn't be able to recover. It wouldn't work. Maybe they put an O. And it would be great if there was an automated service that you could set up, every crypto account, every wallet, everything that you have, every NFT marketplace account, and just back it up to one service. And then there's like a dead man switch. If you don't check in, once a week, it sends all of your login information to somebody that you've specified, and it gets them access directly, right?
But like, who's that going to be? That's like somebody proprietarily holding all of your.
That's true too. That's true too.
It's very complex, because I thought about that, and I think that if someone manages to solve that problem, that will be an amazing business opportunity. It's kind of having your wheel, your on-chain wheel, something like that. So you can really say, okay, something
on-chain wheel. That's brilliant. I love that.
The first challenge is how does the protocol knows that you really died? Maybe you're not able to check in only because you decided to sail around the world. You're in a storm and you cannot check in the next 3 weeks.
Your family is going to need the password anyway, right? So die, whatever. You just have your own backup. It's kind of the same thing, right? As long as you and your family know, like, okay, this is like the master key to all of the stuff. Then they can get in. Yeah, but I want getting it to the point where you could actually have all that information in one place, safely encrypt it, and then have access to that. Be really accurate. I mean, it's a non-trivial problem.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I literally think about the fact that every day there are crypto holders that die suddenly, because millions of people die suddenly every single day. Some of them hold crypto, and that crypto is gone forever. Like, how many people have gone through the process of really making sure that somebody else knows how to recover if something happens to them? Like, I think very few.
Basically, you're saying Bitcoin kind of de facto gets burned all the time.
I think so. It's a deflationary token.
Oh no.
Yeah, but it's true. I mean, look at it, like, as we know, 4 million out of 21 million, 4 million have been lost forever, and like forgotten passwords and thrown away hard drives and whatnot, and then there's a million in Satoshi's wallet. So there's really only like 16 million, not 21 million, to go around.
It's crazy that there's still a million in Satoshi's wallet. Just gonna leave it there forever, or maybe someday own half of the world's economy. Oh man, that would be a trip. The god of crypto just wakes up. He's like, yeah. It's the CIA. What's up? Yeah.
Can you just imagine, like, because I'm sure there's obviously bots monitoring this wallet. Like, the second if anything ever happened, it would within 10 seconds it would be all over Twitter and all over everyone.
Yeah.
People would lose their freaking minds. It would be insanity.
Me included. Like, that's that's definitely it would be quite the day. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you imagine so I would say, like, the amount of potential sell pressure there would just be like, if it woke up, if you were a Bitcoin trader, your first move is getting out of the market. It would have to be.
Yeah, that's a good point. I would think it, like, initially there might be some euphoria and some bullishness, but then you're right, like, when reality sets in.
Now, I say that, but like the freaking what's his face? He just bought 1 billion Bitcoin. What do they call that?
Oh, Michael Saylor.
Yeah. What's the name?
MicroStrategy.
Thank you. Yeah, MicroStrategy. Yeah, thank you. I mean, they're sitting on a metric crap ton, right? And so, like, that's, I'm not really worried about them, because the only thing they ever do is buy and then borrow money. That's like all the rich people are doing the same thing, right? They'll buy an asset, they never sell it, they just borrow against it and run all that as a liability, blah blah blah. They're just doing that at a scale that is completely absurd. But hey,
he now holds fully he's over 210,000 Bitcoin now, so he's got more than 1% of all that will ever exist, let alone, like, and probably 1.33% of what will ever be in circulation, basically.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I seriously have a suspicion they're never going to sell it.
Yeah,
because they don't have to. They could just keep, as long as there's an argument for, the market to keep scaling the way it is, then they're just going to be able to keep going, right? New active wallets, new volume, new difficulty. Didn't difficulty just hit a new record?
I think so. Yeah, because the hash power keeps going up, so the difficulty has to adjust. Yeah, and you're right. Like, I read somewhere that There's somebody said Michael Saylor may be the world's first trillionaire from his personal holdings.
Yeah, it's gonna end up being Musk the way things are going. Even though he keeps getting hit on some stuff. It really like Twitter won't be it. Talk about burning a social media platform to the ground. Yeah, but hey, as long as you're for free speech, you have to agree with them. But free speech. Anyway, I mean, like it's the SpaceX stuff. 98% of all weight going to orbit is SpaceX now. Like,
that's what I heard.
Just unpack that globally. Every government, every project doing anything. 97, 98% of all weight volume going into space is from one company. I just like catch up if you can, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna. I think
and Starlink too is like taking over. Like they have like 7,000 satellites in orbit already.
Yeah, that's nuts. I think people are going to be trying to play catch up on that for a decade. It's just the amount of stuff that's up there now and linked. So like they're doing laser link stuff now between between satellites and the network, right? So you're basically able to communicate over volume now, as long as there's line of sight, and there's always line of sight for 3, 4, 5 of these things at a time anyway. So yeah, I mean that's gonna be nuts. I think they just said too, like if these they're planning, like there's a Mars window that opens every 2 years, right? One just passed, so they're talking about they'll definitely have the BFR. I know it's called Starship. I don't care. It's a big fucking rocket to me for the end of time. That was the nickname. I'm sticking with it. I'll take that to my grave. But they're talking about actually doing Mars landing missions. They're going to launch a couple right away when the window opens up, and if they land okay, then manned missions start 2 years later. To fucking Mars.
It's crazy, I know.
And NASA's like, oh, my capsule doesn't work. And again, like that, I get so pissed off. I mean, I was a NASA junkie for my entire upbringing, and the whole idea that they keep talking about hydrogen. Hydrogen sounds really cool for anybody that doesn't understand that you can't store it. Right, it's almost impossible to store. You're going to come up with leaks all over the place because the hydrogen atom, go figure, is very small, right? So like it leaks all the time, and everybody knows this. And they're constantly trying to figure out how to solve for that. And lo and behold, the capsule that's up there has a fucking leak, and they're spending billions and billions of dollars on the stuff that NASA's trying to build, and SpaceX is eating their lunch. Like they're 15, 20 years behind now. Still, throwing money at that stuff, and so that's just for them embarrassing. I think they need to like just stop everything they're doing and reassess that, even how they do everything, right? Because they're so worried about maintaining their funding and like fucking Boeing and Lockheed and all those guys that they can't be nimble. Like it's impossible for them to be nimble and to do what SpaceX has always done, is fail on purpose, right? Like we're they're iterating. And they're iterating at scale. Like rockets are going to blow up, but we're also going to land rockets on their ass and go fuck yourself. Like that's how you got to do it.
They sail upwards. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, with aggression. So I mean, anyway, thank you for coming to my little digression. But yeah, it's that kind of thing. Thing in terms of like the getting in front of global networks the way they're doing with SpaceX. I find really fascinating. So, I mean, the at the end of the day, we're our main focus right now is just to increase attention, right? Like we need way more eyeballs on everything that we're doing for it to be remotely viable. And that it's a smaller problem, but like for us, it's like we want to create an attention network, right? So like all the different projects we can partner with, they've got eyeballs and fun stuff, and we've got a few eyeballs and some fun stuff. And how do you sort of network that together so that there's some sort of meaningful enough connections that that we can kind of create some momentum. Obviously, nothing as cool as fucking SpaceX.
What are you gonna do? But yes, the whole free speech absolutist makes me laugh because you buy if you spend $44 billion and you buy Twitter, you're free to do whatever you want. You can promote whatever you want. You can shadow ban whatever you want. But don't tell people something. Don't say to the world that you're one thing when you're clearly the opposite. Like it's absurd and it's laughable. I mean, anyway.
It's Yeah, that's a whole
Yeah.
thing.
It just
Yeah, at least be consistent.
yeah. He's proof positive that being the richest man in the world doesn't mean you're not an insufferable douchebag.
Hey, that's yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's been disappointing. I don't talk
Yeah.
about Elon Musk anymore. I talk about SpaceX because the SpaceX team is doing amazing things. And
Mhm.
like all the people are like, "Oh, he didn't have anything to do with creating those rockets." Yes, he fucking did. Like
Yeah.
you could like his attitude or fucking sharing bullshit on Twitter all the time or not, and I definitely don't. But like he did it. Like that's a thing that
Yeah.
happened, right? I watched all that stuff in real time. The whole stuff. The whole time, and it was people are apparently not monolithic, and
Well, the thing is,
complicated.
there's a lot to admire professionally. Like he has accomplished. I mean,
Yeah,
he didn't start Tesla. Like he had a lot of help, and his legend has become overblown. But nonetheless,
yeah,
he's certainly you don't become the richest man in the world by accident. Okay, so
yeah,
we have to give him a lot of
yeah,
credit. But you can separate that from him as an individual, his personality. I mean, he's a gross, creepy guy. Like he's not anybody you would ever want to be a friend with, or you would want your children to emulate, or anything. I mean, he's like it is what it is, right? So that's you can separate personal and professional, and you can admire one, and you can think the other one is gross and creepy.
yeah,
Yeah, I fully agree because professionally, I think that nobody can argue that the guy is a genius professionally.
Yes,
Like as a
yeah.
person,
absolutely,
I don't know if I would like him as a friend, but
exactly.
yeah,
Oh man,
yeah,
that's fun. Okay, Steph, know what's
yeah,
cooler than spaceships? Flip drives in space. Yeah, Steph basically consumed all of season 1 by himself. That's not entirely true. A lot of other people did play, but there was one guy, and his brother Red was pretty good too. But man, these guys cleaned up. So he co-founded PayPal, the first peer-to-peer network in 2008, then left to create Bitcoin. Okay, well, I don't believe that he created Bitcoin, but it's not impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like I shouldn't say I don't have any evidence one way or the other, but the whole PayPal thing, was decently ahead of its time. Mattis, what's up? What's up? Hey, for anybody that doesn't know, Crypto Alpha is fucking gunning it. I didn't check today how many users they have, but yesterday or the day before they were 14K. They're freaking crushing like crazy. Wednesday,
yeah.
there's going to be a collab mission with the Bags Tapper and Crypto Alpha. We're super excited about that. Doge is a direct fork of Bitcoin. That's basically true,
Yeah.
isn't it? Didn't they do
Yeah,
that in
that's
Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Interesting things.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I mean, I couldn't prove that it wasn't the case, but I can't prove that there isn't a giant spaghetti monster behind the sun either, and that
Yeah.
doesn't really count for much. What are you gonna know?
Yeah.
I love that Pastafarianism is real. Like that's a thing that's real. A protest religion just seems like something that should have always existed. Anyway, talk about a tangential right turn. So lots of exciting things going on. That started. We had Danish on last week. Was filling us in on a bunch of the cool stuff that's going on the Ton chain and all the new Telegram stuff and things like that. And we're starting to get in a position to learn a lot. I'm going to be connecting with lots of projects there, and we're going to get them on as guests and stuff. And that's something that Russell, obviously I'll keep you posted. But I think that the Ton integration I think is going to be a good place to be. Yeah. And then at some point we'll have to figure out how to do some kind of collab with on Solana with you guys too. That'd be really fun.
Well, I think maybe next week we'll set up a call with Nico. We'll start to kind of flesh that out, what that's going to look like, because there's unlimited potential, but I think if we all have a little brainstorming session, we'll come up with some pretty creative things.
Sign me up.
Yeah, for sure.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. Cool beans. All right. Well, So the walk me through again, like how much of this stuff is getting launched in November?
So the first thing is going to be the NFT marketplace with a number of, we've got some partnerships with collections that will be launching during our launch as well. So we will have hopefully a full marketplace with lots of different assets available and at different price points and different, some utility, some art, some collectible, some gaming. There'll be a nice mix of everything. The Launchpad as well, the Solana Launchpad will be live. And again, we're going to have projects lined up, so there'll be different tokens going live. Go ahead.
Will that be a token launchpad or an NFT launchpad or both?
Well, both. So the NFTs can launch on the marketplace, and tokens will be able to launch on the Launchpad. That's the idea. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So something for everybody. And again, not just on Solana, but that'll be on Ethereum and Base for sure to start. And then from there we'll expand out, but at least we'll have those two available. And then staking of the token will launch at the same time. So people that hold the ASV token will be able to immediately start generating some passive income from it. And there'll be some revenue share as well from the fees on the NFT marketplace, from fees collected on the Launchpad, things like that. The token is also deflationary because everything, there will be a percentage of everything burned. So even in the Launchpad, we take listing fees in ASV tokens. A percentage of those are burned. We take a percentage of funds raised in Solana. A percentage of that we will use to buy back ASV tokens and burn them. So there's a constant deflationary pressure on the token once revenue starts being generated, once the platform is live. And then again, we'll have some of the, like there will be some game. I think the first few partner habitats will probably start launching. If not, then shortly after, because we're actively building them out right now. And there'll be some kind of cool games and different types of content available, and shopping and clubs that you can join and things like that. So that should all happen before the end of the year. I would say, like you said, around November.
That's cool. So basically, again, like the metaverse thing, for Asvoria has always been visually stunning. My question always was like, cool, when can I go there and what can I do, right? And I know that obviously takes time or whatever, but I like the premise of it has always been really good. So it's even good to see, like, it's still, it's moving forward. I think the second, so is it possible now to sort of log in and walk around, or is that still kind of open? Because I think I've seen the demo opened up.
That's right. Yeah. So right now we're doing demo videos of what the sort of gameplay, for lack of a better word, will look like. But yes, it's really, that's one of the things, like using Unreal Engine, and we're up to now, I think 5.6, whatever the latest release is. As soon as Unreal Engine releases a new update, we immediately incorporate it. So we're always using the latest version, and it truly is remarkable, like the hyper realistic graphics possible. I mean, it's like it's on par with GTA and Call of Duty and the best video games in the world. And I think that's really critical. So most people, when they think of metaverse, they think, and again, not to take anything away from Sandbox and Decentraland, they're the trailblazers. Without them, we probably wouldn't be sitting here talking about metaverse. But the graphics are really somewhat primitive in terms of what's possible now, and those kinds of cartoonish graphics, like even to a certain extent Minecraft. It's a look and it's a feel, and it definitely has its place. But if you are a brand, like if you're Louis Vuitton and you want to set up, like we actually have, next time I come on, I'll make sure to have the video available. We built in Dubai Mall, there's a Jacob & Company store. So that's one of our partners, is Jacob & Company. And Nico actually met with Jacob, sat down, they worked this whole thing out. We built a perfect one-to-one replica of their store in Dubai Mall. We built it virtually, and the video shows Nico and Jacob walking into the store. It's a live video of them in Dubai walking into the store, and then it shifts very subtly to the metaverse, and truthfully, it's hard to tell when that transition occurs. That's how fine-tuned the graphics are, and then you see the whole story. You can go walk up to the displays, you can see the watch up close, you can click on it, see all the information, the price, and you can even buy it right then and there. So that for a brand like that, for the type of B2B work that we're working towards, I think hyper realistic graphics are a must, and these brands would not want to be represented in a cartoonish way. They want to be as realistic as possible.
Yeah, I got that feedback constantly, with Uplift. That was, the second you sort of go above a sort of, small business style thing, that's what everybody was looking for. So yeah, and I know that you guys can actually do that. So I'm sort of like the metaverse is like really, really low on the sort of buzz scale right now, and I think that it's probably going to stay that way for a little bit. But it's only a matter of months, weeks before you can have a client of yours stand in the middle of their showroom, take a 360 degree picture, and have that rendered in Unreal 5. Like, AI is just going to be able to start generating that like crazy. It's starting to be able to do things like it now, right? Like, just that having that the image creation, being able to have that conversation with something like the Unreal 5 engine, which I would be shocked if they weren't almost done creating that already. They're definitely working on it. They'd be insane not to be. But then, you're able to, have a situation where, it's not going to require all the back end work. Cause I know they, are very, very good at all the sort of rendering and doing that kind of thing, right? Like that, the spaces in that loop, or the gaps in the loop to make that customer experience really, really amazing are closing. And then, once the glasses form factor starts, kicking in, it's only a matter of time before you're just automatically with your freaking Ray-Bans or whatever, taking tours of whatever it is that you want to do, right? I mean, like it starts to get, less and less sort of clunky and more user-facing all the time.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Is for most people, if you say metaverse, even if they sort of have a general understanding of what you mean, their impression will be disappointment, because up until now, we've only had kind of version 1.0. So of course it's not going to fulfill, metaverse launched into sort of the public zeitgeist with this idea of this promise of like, Ready Player One, and I think people's expectations were 10 years too far into the future. Yeah. And then when they saw, and even like, again, not to bash Sandbox, but at the peak in 2021, after Facebook renamed themselves Meta and the tokens, all metaverse tokens went crazy. At their peak, their token was the Sand token was $8.40 some odd cents. 3 billion tokens in circulation. They had a market cap of $25 billion, and they had 30 daily active users. It was a wasteland. It was just empty space, and so
that was always people got mad at us because we didn't have enough users. Like, dude, billion-dollar companies are having the same problem. Like, fucking leave us alone.
Yeah. So when the inevitable crash came, it leaves a bad taste in people's mouths, and they're like, "Oh, it was all hype," and it was, So that's what we're trying to do as the sort of the next generation metaverse, version 2.0, if you will. And we're trying to fulfill the promise of what a metaverse could and should be. And there is so much that hasn't been explored yet, hasn't been developed, because again, we're still so early in this, especially when it comes to Web3.
Yeah. You said that you were talking about launching with some games. Is that sort of like the being able to sort of walk from that store that you're talking about having like into a game environment?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it'll be those will be kind of the first components of the actual metaverse itself, and it'll sort of demonstrate, visually what's possible, what the gameplay is like. It'll start developing, again, because we're on Solana, we can, just like with Wax, we can do microtransactions because there's really negligible gas fees, and confirmation times are so fast. So there's, I just love the idea of play to earn. I think that learn to earn, I think you can, it's an excellent way to incentivize certain behaviors by creating these financial rewards, and especially doing it in a gamified way. I mean, look at the tap, look at the Bag's Tapper. Like it's the dumbest thing. And when Notcoin did it like 6 months ago, every day I'd be on there and I'd be like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Like, but it's addictive. It's really like there's something about it. It's that slot machine mentality, and why fight it? Like if it works, it works. And so it's proven to be very effective. So that's really going to be a core component of the entire Asvoria ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean that's where I kind of got left is you just can't argue with the numbers. You can
Exactly.
try, and you'll end up being wrong. I think that's you see the fastest onboarding experience for anything in crypto ever by 2-3 orders of magnitude. I mean, that's worth paying attention to, right? So yeah, that's it's never dull.
I'm just waiting for the little rockets. I'm waiting for the rockets on Bag's Tapper so that you can get like the 100x per tap for 20 seconds or something.
Oh yeah, with the nitro.
The nitro. That's it.
Yeah. We've definitely talked about that. We basically because again like that. My favorite thing about that when you're doing the Wuffy thing is an example I know of or whatever. Like go in once a day and you could still like you're not competitive with the red scorpions of the world, but like you could get ahead. Just showing once a day, and again, you can maximize everything else. You can do everything else if you want to, but that one thing you can go in and feel like you're making an impact with the sort of the kind of user that's only going to show up once a day.
Yeah, for sure. It's great.
Indeed.
But, I stopped playing WoW this weekend.
Yeah.
Not anymore. No more WoW Tapper for me. Because they said no, because there's one post announcing that that 90% of the rewards will go to the paying customers. Basically, if you haven't paid with treats, then you're in the 10% of the rewards. So yeah, I think it's
you look at the
very
freemium,
discouraging.
The freemium, I mean, I paid. I'm fucking yeehaw, rock and roll. That's
me too.
I've spent less on a single martini. So
yeah. But for me, it's different because I think that really it has to be really something that gives you value. Paying should be optional if you want to be lazy, if you want to whatever. But if 90% of the rewards go to the paying customers, then I think, if that was announced since the beginning, then you know what you're getting into. Otherwise, I think it's like, doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the same time, you have been focused on creating a filter so that we are more likely to get the kinds of people that we want to get. That does that.
Or no, or not.
No?
Well, I think that if I have to pay to get an amount of WoW, which has an already known value, I'm better off taking that amount of money that I'm going to pay and putting it into something that I know that it will give me a certain return for sure.
Yeah.
When you're tapping, I think that you have the excitement of not knowing what you're going to get exactly.
Right.
If you already know what you're going to get and you have to pay to get that, I think that for the amount that you might get, you were better off buying the WoW directly from the market.
Maybe, but you don't know.
But you don't know.
I mean, that's the same bet somebody is spending with their time.
Do the math. Do the math. Let's say they have 500,000 players. You know how much WoW is in there. Yeah. And if from that WoW, 90% will be distributed to the paying customers, which I don't know how many there will be.
I don't either. Makes me really excited. I paid.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's kind of not very interesting anymore.
Fair enough. For me, and just for everybody, like we have this conversation internally all the time, and where we landed is like the pay to lazy. If you are like hyper diligent, you can keep up to you can't go faster by paying. You can only be lazier by paying.
Yeah.
And so that's something that
Well,
we wanted
you can
to.
go faster because to go at the same pace without paying, you will have to do really a lot of work, create
But
scripts,
that's we just say yeah, like that's yeah,
not sleep or whatever.
yeah,
But yeah, you can make it anyway. If
yeah.
you yeah
I mean, that's like if you hand your phone off to somebody who stays up all night,
yes.
like that's something. I'm just saying, like from a mathematics point of view,
From a
it's the
mathematics
same
point of view,
speed.
you can yeah, it's
Yeah,
doable.
yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, getting some referrals to getting that mining time up is always a good thing. That's for sure. Just
Yeah.
then you
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
can sleep for more than 3 hours at a time instead of losing your freaking mind. But yeah, I mean, for us, like to me, making sure that because I got like getting hyper focused on people that have money that we want to come into the ecosystem, which is obviously what our goal is, right? Like I don't want a million people that have zero money to do anything in our ecosystem. Like that helps nobody. Um,
Absolutely. But
right?
but if I want someone to spend his money, I
Yeah,
want him to spend his money in an IDO because there's a risk.
fair
Okay,
enough.
but I will take this risk. I want these people to use this money. Oh, I will add liquidity here, and
Yeah.
then I'm doing that to get an upside. So yeah, that's something that I think it's worth spending your money on. But spending your money just yeah, to basically not knowing what you will receive.
Yeah. So I mean,
I
this way,
don't
like
know.
our on sort of on our attention side, we there's obviously the whole pay to lazy thing, but we're trying to cast a wide net as well. And I've always thought that was the right way to go, because the second you start trying to like sort of pre-filter people, there's always the possibility you're going to be losing people that you wouldn't have wanted to lose. And really, like the way these things grow. I fully expect that people that come in that want to grind out and create something and don't want to pay anything or don't have the money to pay or whatever, the those people will lead to people that are going to be extremely valuable for the ecosystem from a
Yeah,
financial point of view, right? Like that's that's always the assumption I make. Like the if these things are going to percolate in a network kind of way, then you're going to have people that are just grinding these things out in the Philippines that happen to make a Twitter post that happen to get somebody's attention who's a fucking doctor in California or something, right? Like that that's just kind of how these things work.
yeah, yeah. No, I fully get you. I fully get you there.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the goal anyway, and we'll find out. You gotta fuck around before you find out.
Yep, exactly, exactly. That's how it works.
That's how it works. You got to break
Yeah,
stuff to figure out where the line is.
yeah,
Breaking shit is my middle name, for good or ill. That's probably why everyone fucking blames me for everything.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
Russell, that has become an almost for me entertaining, but I'm pretty sure entertaining for everyone else.
Yeah.
Meme. I get blamed for literally everything, not just some things, but actually everything. Which is it's like exposure
yeah.
therapy for me.
That's
It's
awesome.
easier to deal with if you know that like it's fucking raining somewhere and it's my fault. Anyways, as if I have that much clout. Anyways, so okay, Russell,
Yes.
what are you most excited about over the next 5 years?
Wow. Okay. We've kind of discussed this offline
That's why I
before,
asked.
but yeah. But I did a presentation last year on the power of the exponential curve and how people cannot appreciate. Most people can't. It's difficult for the human brain to wrap itself around the concept of an exponential curve because we have caveman brains and they are more geared towards slow evolutionary change. And looking back 30 years and seeing the technological progress we've made and thinking that we're going to surpass that over just the next 3, it's especially when you see what from where we've come from 1994 to today.
Right.
It's hard to grasp, but I really feel the title of that presentation was "We live in interesting times," and I think we live in the most interesting times in human history. And I think the scope of change that we will see by 2030, like you don't even have to go 10 years. Like just by the end of this decade, we got what 5.5 years or so, or less now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's almost 25. But the world is going to be fundamentally different. Like AI is going to transform everything, and it's in many ways it will be unrecognizable. And that scope of it's going to present a lot of challenges, but I am optimistic in that clearly we as humans are not very good at governing ourselves. Every system on the planet is unsustainable. So it's like, maybe AI will be the thing that saves us from ourselves. So, but either way, it's, things can't get much worse. So I think that
this is the thing, like, because that catastrophizing, and of course we've talked about this. Like, I recognize that things can seem very bad, and in a lot of cases are objectively pretty bad. But then you gotta step back. If you look at all of the numbers on every single metric of human civilization, all of them are topping out except for government. Right? Like that, like this whole like, hey, let's try authoritarianism bullshit out. Like that's global and it's messed up, and we should definitely like fucking not do that. There's history books. Go fucking read them. Right? Like you can go see how that ends. And it's
we've tried to, we've seen this movie before.
Like, this is not new for the monkeys, right? Like that, we've done this, and it doesn't usually end very well for anyone. But yeah, I mean that's on the rest of I'm doing this because I have to remind myself of this all the time, right? Because otherwise it's just like fuck, we're screwed, and really we're not, right? Like the child education globally is going through the roof. Little girls getting educated throughout the world is going up through the roof, right? Like so that's like, and like there's just like 50 metrics that you can go through.
I tend to disagree with you, Corey. Sorry to say that.
The data doesn't give a fuck about your feelings.
No. I think that you're taking the data from a world in which you live in, but you have to remember there's shitloads of kids in Africa.
No, that's exactly where the data.
In Latin America that are dying because of malnutrition and so on.
I'm not saying there isn't problems.
To be a really shitty thing in a lot of poor countries. So I think that you're not taking into account many things, because we are lucky enough to live in a first world country and have the best possible conditions. But I think that what you say is not completely true.
Cool. I'll send you all the data because it's literally about Africa and third world countries that I'm talking about, not like me having been lucky enough to be born in North America.
Yeah, those kids are still dying, but at lower rates than they were at any other point in history.
Rates, I agree that maybe at lower rates, but they are still dying.
Yes. It's not perfect.
They are still dying, and there are still diseases that are not eradicated, that could be eradicated and are not eradicated. So
at no point did I say or did I mean that we're done. They're still suffering that like we're so technologically advanced now that it's criminal that stuff is still happening. Like full agree. Like the fact that it's improved is not that it's done and we can all just fucking like pat ourselves on the back and go have a beer. No, there's tons more. I just like looking at like when I feel like, oh shit, we're screwed. You can look at the trend lines, and the trend lines are all, we're doing pretty good. And again, like there's gonna be back eddies, there's gonna be situations where we could get progressive, but
we're not doing pretty good. Sorry to say that. We're doing way much better than 10 years ago. We're doing way much better than 50 years ago. We're doing pretty good. No, sorry, we're not doing pretty good. While there are child dying, we're not doing pretty good. We're doing a shitty job because we have. And I'm not communist, I'm capitalist as fuck. But we have children dying in the poor countries, while there are people that can say, oh, here's $100 bill and burn it. And then we're doing pretty bad. Sorry to say that. We're not doing good. We're doing bad. We're doing better than in the past, for sure. But we're doing pretty bad, not pretty good.
Again, like, could we be doing exponentially better? Yes, and I think we will. Because to your point, like that trend line, that's sort of what I go back to. But yeah, like are there dumb assholes with too much money in America? Yes. Am I also a capitalist as fuck? Yeah. It's just to me, like, and again, I have a suspicion, maybe more of a hope, but I think I feel strongly enough about it that I think there's a non-zero probability that the way, even in capital markets, to prioritize the ability to get basic things to end large swaths of suffering globally is going to be one of the things that AI helps us solve. And again, not that I've ever been overly optimistic about things before, but like I think that sort of complex data problem is going to be something for which that I think innovative solutions can be found and can be created. So like hopefully we could take that again, the exponential curve, right? Those trend lines that have been trending up, we can trend them up much faster, and like hopefully finish. Like the whole idea that there's kids that are hungry anywhere on this planet is fucking stupid. And like that to me, like could we make some intelligent compromises around like just rampant corporate capitalism to try and solve for that? I would sign off on that, right? Like that's not a terrible idea, because kids starving is fucking stupid. Anyway, sorry.
So part of the issue I think is
back to the question.
Is part of the issue is that when people have this conversation, they're comparing two different timelines. And historically, like if you zoom out right now in terms of, you're right, like child mortality and global poverty rates, and yes, it's horrible in many places in the world, but as a whole, humans as a whole are doing better than they ever have in history. But if you zoom in, especially people like sort of in our generation or roughly our age, the 90s, it seemed like human civilization peaked in the 90s, right before the internet, right before social media. So the last 30 years, there definitely seems to be a feeling of things getting worse and worse and worse. And I think that, like, people our age, when we kind of look at the situation and say the world looks like pretty bad, I think that's kind of what we're talking about for the most part.
I think the social media and the algorithms that are showing us more of the bad things when we want to look at bad things, like that whole catastrophization thing is a thing, right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Doom scrolling.
Also, like, did we just get that fucking old where we're the guys saying it was great in the old days? That's bullshit. I don't want to sign off on that. I don't want to be that old. Fuck that shit. God damn it, Russell.
Well, I'm 53, so I'm probably the oldest of the three of us, I think, right? So.
I mean, I'm not far behind you. I'll be
yeah, there you go. So.
Oh man, it was so great in the 90s. Oh shoot me. I could never have dreamed of coding in the 90s. Because I was too busy drinking and playing guitar. So there was other reasons why other people could do it. And I spent a little time with this morning. The amount of capability that's opened up to me with my complete lack of experience or knowledge, it just doesn't ever stop surprising me. It's pretty fun. Again, like as somebody who, like, I know 50 trillion times more about guitar than I'll ever know about coding, and yet I can make simple stuff now. Like I can do things because I'm not going to get an error message that'll have me stuck for 6 months, right? Like that's like I can just ask the smarty pads and they'll just tell me what I need to know. Exponential curves. I think that's a great place to leave off today, man. And again, like with our audience, I know most of you guys are entirely capable of contemplating exponential curves. I know we try to do that a lot. Jesus Christ. World hunger. We need to solve Flip Drive season 2. Whew. Now, I love the energy. That's yeah. Well, and I'll be chatting with both you and Red about how we're game planning that. I think like right now with the Tapper app, and I think I'm thinking a lot about what season 2 needs to be, but right now we're hyper focused on getting a really, really good growth curve on the Tapper app. So I know Chris Tuttle is going to be doing some work on that stuff, but it's not going to be tomorrow, and it probably won't even be next week. So
everyone take a breath.
100%. Yeah, new clothes. I think they're going to drop fairly soon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think that maybe we will be dropping a combination. I won't do it today. I have to apologize, guys, because today we're having a problem with the task loader, and our lead developer is in a plane, so we cannot fix that problem until he lands. And as soon as the task loader is there will be something to compensate for today's word of the day, and maybe a new nice combination to to get.
There you go.
So yeah,
I like it.
Awesome.
I can't wait till we start. We're gonna have to start doing like combos where all your parts are level 10.
yeah, I think that we will have to go even further than that. But
Well, yeah, I mean,
because,
yeah,
because right now I think that most of what I have is at least level 8 or 9. So in a
yeah,
couple of days, level 10 will be like
it's
the
nothing. Yeah,
norm.
and
Yeah.
it's like we're gonna have some interesting situations where like I always want to make sure that if somebody showed up 2 days ago, they've got that that goal, right? Whereas if someone came in 2 days ago and everything has to be level 10 to get this, well, that mission doesn't have to go anywhere, right? So now like I got a target that's a little more medium term, right? I can go after that thing and kind of gun it. So maybe those ones, the level 10 and above, need to be a little bit higher on the reward thing, just because they're going to be at a certain scale when they get there, and sort of have enough of a carrot. Anyway, we'll figure that out. Jose will be off the airplane at some point, and we'll get some of that stuff fixed, and then we'll announce when the next set is coming. Tomorrow, the next day, you guys will be able to figure out when that's going to be. We'll have them out.
Yeah.
Russell, thank you so much for coming on. I know I say this every time,
Thank
but
you, guys.
feel free to come on way more often, just because I need like regular doses of the Russell, or I get that.
Positive energy here. Yes, we
love
need
it.
that.
100%.
Thanks, guys. It's always a pleasure. I'll be back soon. We'll keep talking, and we're going to build some amazing things over the next year or two.
Hey, yeah, let's definitely hook that meeting up for next week. So definitely have
cool.
For sure.
Cool.
All right, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thumbs up. Boom.
Boom. Take care. Thumbs up.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay.